for Jesus Club once more. Paranormal defense capabilities. From ancient stories, there were stories of people with powers that could be used for the defense of the community or used for the defense of themselves. This brings me to a time before this pursuit against me began by the secret people, the hiding people, and whatever is happening. I was in a town where I left, and by then I was experiencing, I didn't know it was something also to do with paranormal. I was experiencing some hardships here and there. And one time, there is my late sister that I told you I came with from there to here, who is late. I could not be able to attend her funeral when she passed. I only had to go later. She'd come to stay with us, and there are certain things that were happening I didn't know they are paranormal. And I wanted to inquire from another man if he could be of some help. And when I was talking to him, another person appeared. He happened to have some knowledge of this guy. And he sat and he was telling us exploits and stories about himself. And he was sitting and he was telling me, you see the way I am? And we were looking at him. You know, that time we had assembled in a hotel, but in that hotel they used to serve some drinks that make people open up and sometimes behave like they're not okay when they have had one too many. And he said, nobody can be able to kill me until when my day will come. And we were wondering what was he talking about. And he gave us a story of people who had planned, a person who threatened to kill him and had a gun. And after some time, an hour before the time he had said he will search for him and kill him, he was found with some thugs and there was an exchange of fire and he was the one hit out. He was killed. He told us of a story of people who had threatened him with witchcraft, and before he could die, the person died. To us, those appeared to be stories and very interesting stories. And others took it as stories from a madman, not a madman, a drunk man. And he left, but he was not drunk. And he told us what had happened, that there were so many enemies pursuing him. And somebody who knew, is it witch doctors, wizards, or whatever, from a neighboring country, had told him to get a certain amount of money, and they went to that place. And when he reached that place, he was taken to some bush, and they dug a place that would reach, the pit was up to the level of his neck. And he was told to get in, and they buried the body, leaving the head, after uttering some things and putting some herbs and all those things. And he stayed there the whole night. That night, he talked of snakes being released, frogs that were coming around the head, and snakes would move around that head. You know, that time your hands and everything are just, and so many small wild animals moving around, and none touched him. The following day, they came and unearthed the body. He was alive. Let's not call the body. Removed, unearthed. He was breathing. This part was up. And they did some magical things, and from that time he was told, until the time that God has appointed for you to die, nobody will plan and put you down. And he had those two stories, and he said he had many others which he did not tell. I was thinking about this, and I thought of the time when I told you in the past story I was attacked by a jinn. I cut that story, go back to that paranormal, and I blacked out for hours until when very strong light was emanating from me. That's when I came to. So this put a lot of questions into my mind. And today I've thought of talking about this as a topic. In the Bible, there were warriors. In folklore, they were warriors. So I'm going to begin from my country, our country. Some people, when I say my country, they say you appear to be talking like you are, no. Any citizen of a country can refer to his country as my country. You are not purporting to be in any position. It's only that you belong to that country. So, in this country, we had stories. We had folklore or realities, because some realities after some time people can't believe they can happen. Then they term them folklore. There is a neighboring community to our community here called the Luo people. And they were blessed with two such warriors. One was Gor Maya. Gor Maya was a man who could do miracles and could come to the defense of the community using magic, and physically you could not get to him. He was here and not there at the same time, had the abilities to disappear and reappear, and to encounter enemies without fear. Then from the same community came the story of a great warrior. That one people used to be taught. I don't know if they are still taught nowadays in the syllabus, but during our time, it was a must for us to know. There was a warrior called Luanda Magere. And Luanda Magere was fierce in warfare. No weapon could enter his body. It was like a stone. So that's why he was called Luanda Magere. Luanda is a rock in this part of the world, that language. It's Luanda Magere. Until he was betrayed, and the only way he could be killed was by attacking the shadow. So you could not get to him. It was after betrayal that he was killed. It brought out the story of another great warrior, another great man, another great warrior in the land of the Torah. This is supposed to be a man who was invincible, a man who could fight with his bare hands and kill 2,000 people. Those who read the Bible know the story of Samson. Was betrayed the similar way that Luanda Magere was betrayed. Same, everything almost goes the same way. And it also talks of abilities that other great people who served God had. We're going to talk of Elijah. Elijah had power to call fire from the sky. It would consume an offering. He would call fire from the sky. It would consume his enemies. There's a recording of soldiers sent by the king to arrest him. And he would tell them, if I'm truly a man of God, let fire consume the one leading and you are 50, and all the 50 people will be consumed by fire. These are abilities that people have. Some people have, a chosen group of people have by God for the defense of themselves and the defense of the communities. There was a time I was checking the internet, and that time I wanted to find out about witchcraft. You know, when things have happened to you, you start finding out. And came a story of a village in India, Indian coastline or somewhere there, where the villagers never used to fight their enemies. If you attack the village, they set the spirits on you, and the spirits will annihilate the whole army that is coming. So they fight paranormally. Nobody comes with a weapon. The spirits come for you. They fight you in broad daylight and eliminate you. So this left me wondering. There's this story of Elisha now after Elijah, who is made fun of. And he commands, and bears come from the forest and consume those who are doing that to them. There are other paranormal activities where warriors did not have to fight. There are those who put their enemies in the Bible before God, and an angel of God killed 200, was it 100,000 or 200,000 in one night? Finished. Then there is this great story of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, when he was attacked by 5 kings, that means 5 nations going against one nation. You are not prepared, your army is not prepared, and they are laughing at you, telling you how they are going to annihilate you, surrender all. And as they are saying that, you run to God, to the prophet, and the answer you get from the prophet is very interesting. He tells you now what you are going to do. Get some people who can praise God with musical instruments. He's talking of forming a choir. He tells you now, this is the strategy. This is our battle array. Take the choir, put it in front. Take the army, let it follow the choir. Ever heard of such a war strategy? Instead of the soldiers protecting the choir is advancing to the battlefield, and the army is behind the choir. A very queer battle array. A very queer battle formation. That's what he was told. And he did that. And as they were marching, the enemy get confused. As this ones keep praising, the enemies get more and more and more confused. Mind control. And they turn against one another. And they fight and annihilate each other. The others go for the spoils. Because during the ancient times, kings and big people, there were some items that were rare. So these people, because of their positions, they would wear them, they would carry them. So when they were beaten in war, those things will be collected. Some items, even clothing, it was tough to weave. If it's not badly damaged, people will collect them as spoils of war. They would collect the food that they came with, because they used to come with a storage of, sometimes they even had animals to slaughter. So you would have some people herding some animals. So they would all be taken as spoils. And it took 3 days for people just to collect the spoils. You wake up in the morning, go collect. Evening comes, you go to sleep. You wake up in the morning for 3 days. A very interesting strategy. A man called Samnagar in the Old Testament is incensed by the appearance of enemies. By then it is just the same group, the one I was saying, Hittite, but hated one another. And what happens is this man is incensed by the invasion, and he takes a stick that herdsmen used to take care of cattle. It's called a goad stick. Just that in his hands. And with that, he's able to fight armed warriors and kill, was it 400 or 500 alone, with a stick for taking care of the cattle. So you realize these are not the normal abilities of these people. There are certain paranormal abilities that are put in them. And these are the people that communities used to call divine warriors. You would send him to the battlefield and the army would sit back. And the army would sit back because they knew that this man was capable of handling hundreds or even thousands of men alone, not out of his strength, but supernatural happenings would happen that would annihilate the enemy. I think there are some people with those abilities. That's why communities had divine warriors. There is this taunting warrior story in the valley of Elah in the Bible. A giant warrior challenging an army. Even if you are an expert fighter, don't challenge an army. Suddenly he challenges, now bring one. These were the elite. My English may not be that good. Warriors. And these warriors had certain inborn abilities, capabilities that other warriors did not have. And whenever they appeared in a battlefield, the enemy knew their doom had been pronounced. So up to now, there are people who get capabilities of divine protection and divine attack from God. Others get it from witchcraft. To others, it just occurs in the family lines. They are divine. When they enter the battlefield, you cannot kill them with the weapon. You cannot kill them with all these things until a designed time or a designed curse that is in the family or a designed thing that happens. That is the one that will bring them down. That's why when Damagere was brought down by a woman, Samson was brought down by a woman. But under normal circumstances, nobody would bring them down. So I've been talking about this because it was interesting. I told you I like being inquisitive, and I saw in some of the great countries' armies, there are covens. Here in Africa, when you talk of a coven, you think of finishing somebody immediately. To those, they call it Halloween. At times they celebrate all that, and they have covens within the military. and within the police. And I was asking myself, could there be something to do with divine defense or paranormal defense within the army systems, which are not told? Why should they have covens within? And does these same books that talk about against witchcraft and all those things come from the same country? Those are the people who brought us the religions in the first place. They have whatever they told us not to have, whatever they don't want us to have. That is what they have. That's what they are using. Could there be some paranormal abilities that are found within these things that can be used for defense? There is this phenomena, is it photomenology or something like that, a thing where you see structures, cities in the sky. You see things, you can find a reflection, and it happens. Could it be as a result of that such abilities? Because in the Ramayana, during Lanka warfare, Indrajit will appear and fill the sky. Indrajit, everywhere. Shooting weapons from all those, some false, some real. There are such things that have happened. Some people in some places have woken up to see cities in the sky, and then they vanish. To see strange things in the sky, and then they vanish. Could this be what could be making these countries have covens and witches and wizards and worship people, prayer, pastors and whatever these things you call them, within their army systems? It is something to ponder on. I know those are military secrets. Many will not come out and say, but there is paranormal defense. There is paranormal attack. There are paranormal activities in warfare and for safeties of warriors. That I believe. And I think that could be the reason why those countries that in the beginning were telling us these things are bad are the very same countries that are having these covens, these things in their military, in their police. Something to ponder about. Think about it. Are there paranormal defense and attack capabilities? That's my take for now.